Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, and I'm joined by my co-host, Michael Hall. Reed will not be joining us for this episode. He is DJing an event, a.k.a. he is scared to come out after this loss. I'm just kidding. But the title of this episode is The Burgundy Carpet, and the Burgundy Zone is a part of the Frederick Podcast Network. You can find out more by going to www.listenfrederick.com. But to be able to talk about this loss of the 28-20 to the LA Rams, we thought we'd bring in our boy Chad Ryan, all the way from Australia. How you doing on this beautiful and sad Sunday evening, sir?
Monday morning here for me. G'day, boys. Yeah, look, I mean, I don't think most realistic fans would have gone into this game expecting a win, right? So to be sitting here talking about a loss is not something outside of what we all considered, but it's just a sad reality that every game there's some new storyline that is just another stone on top of the pile of things that we look at in a negative light when we think about Ron Rivera's tenure as head coach of this team, and plenty to talk about.
Yeah, and you're not lying about that, because my first question to ask you is the quarterback change. Obviously, Jacoby Brissett came in relief at the end of that game, was 8 of 10, 124 yards with 2 touchdowns. And when you compare that with Sam Howells, who had obviously 3.5 quarters to work with, having 11 of 26, 102 yards, a touchdown, and an interception, Rivera saying in the post-game presser just now that Howell is still the starter. How do you kind of look at that? Because I feel like that's going to start that more questions are going to start popping up, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's a quarterback controversy. Like, this happens, right? So the Rams would have schemed their defense for Hal. Raheem Morris is a good defensive coordinator, potentially a candidate for Washington Commanders head coach search in 2024 and beyond. This is what backup quarterbacks do, right? They come in, they play loose against a defense when the game is over and it's in garbage time. The defense is, not going at 100% anymore, and they connect it through a few passes. And when you've got an asset like Terry McLaurin, who's still giving 110% at the end of a game, things like that can happen. So, look, it's not a quarterback controversy. Jacoby Brissett's 31 this year. He's going to be 32 next year. He's not a quarterback for the future. We've been eliminated officially from playoff contention today. So you really gain absolutely nothing by playing Brissett to end the year. Whereas Howe, there's still a lot of evaluation. In the unlikely circumstance that Rivera is fired and their reins are handed over to Bieniemy to end the season, I don't think that'll happen, but it's possible. You've got more opportunities to evaluate Howe, whereas playing Brissett or starting Brissett, what are you gaining from that? You're worsening your draft position at best.
Can I change up and manipulate the question?
You mean we can be eliminated?
Let me manipulate the question a little bit, Chad, to just expand on it. I know I don't have a lot of time with you, but let's say, because people would point to the fact that because you had a good Brissett and seeing the easy transition of production and play, that would point to that top 5 pick being used on the quarterback more so today in the past hour and a half than before.
Look, I understand the question. I wouldn't, I'm not going to blanket say, no, you're wrong or anything like that. But what I would say is that, Sam Howell is a known quantity in terms of how long it takes to pressure him because of this offensive line. When Jacoby Brissett came in, it was a different offensive line. Charles Leno was off, Tyler Larson was off, and things were happening quickly. Like, I still don't think it's likely that we use a top 5 pick on a quarterback. I'm not ruling it out, and it's a long time before the draft. Lots of things will change. Who we consider the top quarterbacks is just as likely to change. We're not going to see any bowl games from Caleb Williams or Drake May. I think they're sitting out and things like that. So, we're going to see evaluations based on previous tape and then the combine, and it always changes. But the point is, this team isn't a quarterback away, right? And if you draft a quarterback too early, you look at what happened with the Carolina Panthers this year. That rookie quarterback is just getting smoked every game because he has no weapons, he has no offensive line, and that's detrimental to his development. I think the script is pretty well known across the NFL now that you build the team and then you get the quarterback. You can't get the quarterback and then try to build the team. Because if your quarterback that you get is any good, you don't get good draft picks to, build the team. And if the quarterback you get is not good, then you're just screwing up his development by playing him when he's either not ready or the team isn't ready. So I'm still firmly of the belief that you go into the draft, you stay in the top 5, you take one of those top offensive linemen, Alt or Fashanu, and you build from there. You take your best available talent pretty much at any spot throughout the remainder of the draft.
Kudos to you, Mr. Ryan. I would agree.
Yeah, definitely. So just looking back, I mean, there's still 3 games left. Unfortunately, we got to endure these last couple games, but just looking back on the season as a whole, like obviously going into the season, a lot of people thought that, were the mindset of like, hey, just with the abysmal quarterback play, the defense being just top half of the league at best, if we just can get some average quarterback play and a weak NFC, we can be a playoff team and, get to the playoffs, anything can happen. Just looking back at the season as a whole, what do you think was really like just the downfall of the team just from beginning till up until now?
I mean, it's obviously been the defense, right? The defense has underperformed woefully. Jack Del Rio got rightfully fired. You see it today, that Cooper Cup touchdown. Our players don't know what they're doing out there. Like the scheme is not working. There's no confidence in the players in terms of, each other having the right assignments, blown coverages, when it happens once or twice, yeah, sometimes players can make mistakes, but when it happens literally every game, that's coaching, that's scheme. That means players don't know the defensive schemes. That means they don't know their assignments and they don't have confidence in their teammates. And that falls back to coaching. So, Ron Rivera, a defensive head coach, Jack Del Rio was the defensive coordinator, also obviously a defensive guy, both of them linebackers in their playing careers. For the defense to be as abysmal as it's been, considering the incredibly premium investment that's been made in this defense. Like you go back to the start of the year before Montez Sweat and Chase Young were traded. I think it was 5 of the front 7 were first round picks. And 7 or 8 of the starting 11 on defense, depending on what package you're in, were also first round picks. And then the other guys who weren't first round picks were not, journeyman free agents. Like the defense is filled with talent. And it's just not performing up to, not to expectations, not performing to an NFL standard. They have been woeful. And,
Yeah, the points per
even
game.
guys like Daron Payne, who's, a Pro Bowl talent, an elite talent, is having a down year. Because teams can easily double team him. Offensive lines can double team him, and they don't have to worry about anyone else, especially now that Chase Young and Montez Sweat are gone. Jonathan Allen's having a down year. Jamin Davis was having an okay year before he got hurt, but like nothing special, like average. And then our defensive backs, Forrest last year had an amazing year, and then obviously this year got hurt. Haven't seen it. Haven't seen him. Curl down year. Forbes looks, potentially like we're going to be talking about him as a bust. Fuller and St. Juste are struggling. Percy Butler's just a guy.
Mm.
Defensive struggles come down to coaching and talent, unfortunately.
Yeah, and to your point about the defense overall, Chad, I was just going to say that they are last in the league in points per game and four more points scored than the team in front of them, which is just atrocious. To your point, but to wrap this up, I know you have to go because you have stuff to do. But looking forward to the offseason after this game, obviously we're out of the playoffs. Quick reaction: your Santa's list for what you want in the offseason from this this ownership. Are you looking for a GM? Anybody in particular that you're circling?
No one specific that I'm circling. There's a few candidates around. The NFL has what's called a GM fast track program. I'd be looking at some of the candidates who have come through that. There's a few names that the league office runs that to really sort of boost that sort of talent on that side of the football.
Okay.
Obviously, we're going to be looking at an entire new coaching staff. I was saying to Mike before we started recording, I'm not fully off the Bieniemy train. I know a lot of fans out there are dissatisfied because this year, has been so poor. The offense has struggled. Even though Sam Howell's put up big numbers individually, the team's not winning games and especially not scoring points when we need them. But you look at this offensive line and just how much that encumbers and inhibits anything Bieniemy can do. I mean, you look at his playbook in Kansas City and previously. It's not that he needs guys to, be open for 5 seconds or, for a pocket to be clean for an eternity. He just needs an NFL average amount of protection and an NFL average amount of time for wide receivers to create any sort of separation. And we're just not getting it. And before anyone's like, oh, yeah, but Brissett came in. Yeah, but Brissett came in when the game was over. Like it was 28-7. The Rams defense, were playing some backups there. Don't overreact to it is all I'm saying. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Bieniemy get given the reins next year. Make that investment in the offensive line, stick with Hal, see what you got. But who knows?
I got you. Last question I have for you. Santa's Reindeer. heading into the holiday season, who are the 8 players that you would say that Josh Harris can drive and guide his sleigh over the night, be able to carry us into next season?
All right, so let's start from the top. Tress Way, 1. Terry McLaurin, 2. Brian Robinson, 3. It's probably going to be a struggle to get to 8 confidently. Jerron Payne, 4.
You're doing well
Jonathan
so far.
Allen, 5. I'll slide Jahan Dotson in 6. Let's give Sam Howell the benefit of the doubt, 7.
Okay.
Um,
One more. You just need one.
I only because like I would say Curtis Samuel if he wasn't on such a weird contract. Like I think his contract makes it pretty likely he won't be here. But from talent, as we saw today, Curtis Samuel can play, and he's the kind of guy that if our offensive line was better, Eric Bieniemy could scheme him pretty creatively. So I'll say Curtis Samuel 8 with an asterisk.
My man, Chad, I can't thank you enough. Put you on the spot like that and being able to come through with a solid 8 fairly quickly, mind you. Very, very impressive, sir. Thank you enough as always, Chad. I hope you enjoy your day, your Monday. You're ahead of us by a little bit, and I'm not going to say I'm not looking forward to tomorrow, but it's coming. Thank you, Chad. I can't thank you enough, man.
See you guys.
Appreciate
you, Chad. All right, everybody, we just spoke with the man, Mr. Chad Ryan. Always appreciate him coming over all the way from Australia, being able to, it's a long traveling way. It's probably a long flight for him to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean it's Monday for him, so I mean he's like in a whole nother day at this point.
No, and seriously, I'm such an idiot. I didn't even say thank you to him because my goodness, my internet went out as we were like in the intro, and I don't know what happened. It's been acting weird today. The internet actually cut out like in the first quarter of me on that game, and so I wasn't able to watch I think like the drive or two. I was trying to get my internet back up and running. It just wouldn't go on. But instant reaction from this game haul of seeing Jacoby Brissett and Terry McLaurin link up. Terry, 6 receptions, 141 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, woo.
Yeah, I mean it was good to finally see Terry do Terry things. I mean, it's been since a while since we've actually seen him like get loose like that, get deep, catch a couple deep passes. So definitely good to see. But again, I would like to see it like in the first quarter or the second quarter, or like when the game's actually competitive, not when we're trying to make like some ridiculous, miraculous comeback with 7-8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But
fair.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like everyone's gonna make a big thing about like, oh, Jacoby Brissett moved the ball, Sam Howell, blah 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 blah. He's gotten Terry involved, whatever, blah blah blah. But like you said, like Chad said, I wouldn't overreact over it. Let's see. I mean, everyone knows Jacoby Brissett is a NFL like pretty much average, maybe slightly above, slightly below average quarterback, depending on the day of the week it is. So
he's one of the better backups in the league. I think we can
exactly,
all confidently say that. Yes.
Exactly. He's definitely like out of 35 quarterbacks in starting or backup wise, he's like 33, 34, He's right on the cusp of being a starter. But like everyone's like he's just, I don't know. It's just good to see Terry get involved in the game.
I was happy to see
he was doing a little bit more than running. He was doing a little more than running cardio this week, so it was good.
I was happy to see Terry like being able to flex on a defender. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I was so tired of them having something to say.
It's been a while since we've seen that too.
Yeah, so for him to be pissed after that, being able to like, look at him and say, like you feel that. You're like, yeah, Terry, tell him. Yeah. No, but seriously, I absolutely love it. But before we get into our fan questions, I want to get your kind of instant reaction. Is there anybody that's kind of like fighting for a spot next season? Obviously, you could argue everybody is, but anybody that's really honestly fighting for a spot in the future in the NFL that impressed you today?
Future in the NFL, like NFL or just on the team?
Like on the team in general, and just, putting tape out there. There's a lot of people got nicked up in this game or before this game. You know what I mean?
I mean, honestly, not really. It was Samuel. Kind of, I mean, yeah, Curtis Samuel, but like Chad was saying, like just based on the production he's given, and I would assume that more than likely he's getting to like the middle half, like back end of his career. Curtis Samuel is. I would think that he would want to like go to a contender, maybe like try to get to a team that has some type of contention, playoff contention, Super Bowl contention. He'd be a great piece in over in Kansas City. Curtis Samuel would be an excellent piece out there, like Buffalo, places like that. So even the Ravens, oh, I guess I got Zay Flowers now, but
Yeah.
Buffalo, like
They have
Kansas
Rashad
City.
Bateman. What do you mean?
I mean, hey, he'll probably get a touchdown tonight.
What's up?
But
Thought I forgot.
I mean, I can say the same thing about Jackson Carmen.
Hey,
But
man.
but no, I mean seriously though, like yeah, I mean I guess like it's tough, man. I mean, I guess
I'll say Khalid
Percy
Hudson.
Butler had a couple flashes here and there, but again, for all the good plays he has multiple bad plays and multiple kind of like what are you doing type of things out there. I mean, it's hard to say because it was just until the last quarter, half a quarter of the game, it was just an all around bad performance on both sides of the
I
ball.
mean,
Outside of
it was a typical game you've seen thus far. Like
yeah,
I made a comment
yeah,
in the group chat. Like I don't know what winning looks like, you know.
yeah,
And then all of a
yeah.
sudden Jacoby comes in, and all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, this is what. Oh, this is cool, you know. And
Right.
that was like the weird thing about it for me, and that's why I kind of understood of people kind of saying. I think this opened up this idea of the top 5 pick, but I can also understand the argument of people saying the O-line isn't good enough for you to be able to have a good evaluation of Sam Howell and where he is. But I will say this, like, why is it? Like, did you see any stability later on in that game on the offensive line? I mean, obviously the Rams
Look,
are not going as hard as they were before.
I
Obviously,
watched Red Zone earlier today. I've been watching games on Saturday and Thursday because for once the Commanders were the later
whoa,
game. They were the Commander. I'm looking at the jerseys in the
dude! You hear
background.
the guy called us the Commodores?
Yeah, Commodore. I know. Well, I heard that live. I was like, Jesus.
I didn't think I'd see
But
that again.
but no, I mean, shit. I forgot what I was gonna say. What was the question again?
I was gonna say Khalid Hudson, 14 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. I thought
Yeah, I guess he did kind of flash.
he
Yeah.
he did pretty well, but then for the most part, for the defense, you could sit here and say that 28 points is probably in a positive direction, given with how their offensive output was. They were able to force a couple turnovers when necessary, but ultimately they just couldn't get the job done, even on that last drive to try to have a chance to win. I thought it was like a microcosm of the season where like in these games it starts to turn into a shootout, and then when you need it happen most, they don't come through for you, you know, like you have to call a timeout on a first down run, and like you can't even stop it from being a 3rd and 1 or a 4th and 1 because you know they're going to go for it in this situation. They're going to probably get it, and that's just I thought was like a microcosm of the season and poetic altogether on everything that's happened.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice to see them make a comeback, like make it a game, like a little bit more down the stretch. But to be honest with you, right before that 2 minute warning and a little bit after, when it took like 2 minutes plus to score from the one
Yeah,
yard
that was
line,
kind of ridiculous.
like
They should
I
have
knew
just
the
given the
game.
touchdown to Terry.
Yeah, I knew the
I
game
mean,
was over at that
seriously.
point. I was
Come on,
just
bro.
like, whatever.
Just give us a touchdown. It was Josh Harris. Josh Harris was like, "Do not allow that quick touchdown. 6 minutes is too much time. Too much time." I swear that's what he was saying. But no, let's go to our fan questions that were submitted. This one was submitted in the Discord from our guys in there. I think this one is from Tim Towner, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just trying to find it real quick. Now that the Jets have been eliminated from playoff contention, do you think that they will activate Aaron Rodgers against us next week?
Uh, just on Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's been cleared to play and all that good stuff. So I mean, I think it's. I mean, I know there was always a contingency. Like if they're in contention, I'll come back and play. Blah blah
Right.
blah. But uh, based on that offensive line in front of him, based on him coming off the injury, I would say a smart person, normal person would say no. But being it's Aaron Rodgers, he's that type of smug type of person that wants to be like, I told you guys I would come back. I told you guys I'd get out on the field. I could see him coming out for a series, playing one series and being like, "Oh, I came back. I told you. I got on the field. I played," and just letting someone else come back
See,
and play. But honestly, like, yeah, just because it's Aaron Rodgers, I could definitely see him suiting up, playing like a series, maybe a quarter or so. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he came out there and carved us up too. To be honest with you, at this point.
Aaron Rodgers is that sort of cat, you know. He's sort of like Jordan and Brady, where like they need something to be driven towards. You know, they need to prove somebody wrong. You know, and like Aaron sitting in an ayahuasca den, he's sitting to himself. He's like, that dang Fauci man, and it's like I understand what he did, but we are not Big Pharma, Aaron. We are not Big Pharma. You do not need to have this revenge tour on us. It's okay, but we don't need it. It's okay. Just save it for next year, man. We're not Big Pharma. Don't do it to us. We're not Fauci. We're not Fauci. But seriously,
I mean, honestly, I kind of want him to play because if he doesn't, I could definitely see us maybe like somehow beating the Jets like in a 13 to like 10 type of game. But Aaron Rodgers comes out there, everyone gets a boost. Garrett Wilson goes for like 200 yards on us. We'll probably lose.
This is the Zach Wilson game. Like, this is the one that gets him signed to the Giants next year and, like, wins 3 games for them when Daniel Jones gets injured, and then everyone's doing this, you know, to Zach Wilson's mom in the stands or something. You know what I'm saying? I got to have fun tonight, man. It was but honestly, it was good to have at least some sort of excitement in the game because the 20-0, I felt like has like how the last month has been when watching games, if you know what I mean. But we have to be honest for a split second. You know, everyone likes to say, you know, I'm all like, you know, flowers and everything like that. I'm not going to argue with you. But all I will say is it's unfortunate because that start of that game, that's after a bye, you know? And you would expect a little bit more production and execution.
Well, honestly, they were talking about it beforehand. They were like looking back at Ron Rivera's track record coming out of a bye week. Atrocious. So looking forward and looking into the game, it was kind of like just kind of expected because if you look at his record, especially here, but even going back to Carolina, coming out of bye weeks, not so much. Motivation, not so much.
Now, the next question submitted in the Discord is from our boy Orange Crush 92. His question is very simple, a 2-letter word. Jahan Dotson? ?
Bruh. Couldn't tell you. At one point before he even got that target, I was literally thinking to myself, like, has Jahan Dotson gotten a target the entire game? And then lo and behold, 2 or 3 minutes later when Brisket comes in the game,
he
gets a target.
1 catch for 12 yards.
Who, I don't know what's going on. We were just talking about that like before we started recording and all that, blah, blah, blah.
Sorry.
If you really look back at all of Ron Rivera's draft picks, like, who can you really hang your hat on? Like, that's out of 4 years, 7 rounds each year plus. Who can you really hang your hat on that he drafted and you're like, huh, yeah, that's a good pick. That's a cornerstone guy right there. Like, and look, I think Jahan will have a bounce back. I think Jahan will have a bounce back next year. I think that for whatever reason, just this offense, I don't know if it's Sam, I don't know if it's whatever is going on, but for whatever reason, they just haven't meshed this offense and him because everyone thought that Jahan was about to explode onto the scene just based off last year, but including me. He was my fantasy keeper in the 10th round. I was sized, and I couldn't even play him down the stretch.
That on a team that throws the ball more than anybody else that everyone talks about, that you would imagine that it is a plethora of the wide receivers getting crap load of the targets.
And you know the wild thing is he's pretty much on par for his numbers that he put up last year. So it's like, it's not even like he had. I mean, yes, he had a down year because he didn't put up as many touchdowns.
The team is
there's not as many. There's not as many like big explosive plays that he was putting up last year. Not as many flash wow plays, but numbers wise, he's on the same pace as he was last year. It's just, again, just the offense in general. Everyone's having a down year. The only bright spot you could really honestly say is maybe Brian Robinson, because he kind of showed that, hey, I can be that dual threat out the backfield. I can run it and catch it. But I mean, and Curtis Samuel, but I mean, he's about to walk. So, I mean, looking back, like I said, Ron Rivera, all his draft picks, all his first rounder picks, all his draft picks in general, it's like you can maybe hang your hat on Jahan going forward if he has a bounce back next year, and maybe Brian Robinson because he's shown he can catch the ball. But again, Brian Robinson's style of running back is kind of going out of style as well. It's more about the smaller scat back, catch it out the backfield, do everything like third down guy.
Everybody says that until they have a big ass mofo like Brian Robinson running downfield at you. Then it's not fun anymore.
Yeah, but he's definitely like a person, like a running back. He has a spot in the league. It's just, it's more of the, especially in like today's NFL.
You can get production and running back from.
Of course. But like I said,
yes.
He doesn't have that explosion, like boom or bust type of like in him. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying.
I got you. A lot of people would say that about Derrick Henry, but he still scores big touchdowns because nobody wants to tackle his big ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but even Derrick Henry busts off like 80 plus 70, 60-yard runs.
Don't say that.
Bro, what do you mean he does? I've seen it multiple times
They
throughout the
use a
years.
different vocabulary when you say it.
No, yeah, true, but pause. Yeah.
Come on,
But
man.
no, I mean, I'm just saying, Brian
I got you. I got
Robinson,
you. I
none of
got
these
you.
running backs, none of these players have really.
I'm just screwing with you. I'm having fun today.
I know.
All right. Now
It's
this
just
next question
frustrating.
is from Deluxe. I know this the defense is going to take heat from this, especially after that breakdown. But the offense has got to help. What are your thoughts on the non-complimentary football?
I mean, that's the story of the season. Like, as soon as the offense gets in a good spot, the defense is giving up bad points. As soon as the offense is having some struggles, the defense steps up and it's like, hey, let's get a stop. Let's get the offense the ball back, get them in a good position. The offense has struggles. I mean, just look at the Seattle game. Sam Howell, that's probably one of his best games of the season, if not his best. Put up 30 plus points. He led the team down to score or tie the game up, whatever it was, with 50 something seconds left. And lo and behold, the defense gives up a drive down the field, game winning field goal. We lose the game. That was pretty much when the season went downhill from right then and there. So, like, complimentary football, yes, it would have been great to have. It would have been more balanced offense, cool, whatever. But I mean, there's been no complimentary football from the get go, the beginning of the season. Like I
Oh,
said,
it was
defense plays
terrible.
good, gets some stops. The offense can't do anything. When the offense puts up and generates some points, generates some yards, the defense can't stop a nosebleed. It's just horrible season overall, both sides of the ball.
I will never ever forget that Bears game. Like I'll never forget that. Just God, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go back upstairs, and I feel like everybody else on that team did the same thing. But honestly, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, dude, because a part of me feels like Eric Bieniemy is already solidified in what's ahead going forward, in my honest opinion. Like just my gut feeling with it. But it was still up in the air in regards to Sam Howell, because in my conspiracy mind, this was Eric Bieniemy forcing Sam Howell to have to throw the ball a lot in order to gain as much of a valuation as they possibly could on him before moving forward, whether if they were going to use him or not. Because if you're of a common sense mind, like most of you people are, like I'm not, a rookie or young quarterback, you need a running game, to be able to really help you, complement you, and be able to do that play action stuff. And that didn't happen that much. Now, do I know if it's by design or if that's just what Eric Bieniemy naturally throughout the game was deciding to do? I'm not sure, but I think ultimately that we as an organization can kind of see where everybody stands right now, and that's the unfortunate part because I think after that Bears game, it kind of really just it was like I think a lot of it was effort based, and that's just what was the worst thing about it all. Because you just wanted to see what you saw from Terry and Jacoby Brissett. You just wanted to see that, and we just had to wait 2 or 3 months for it.
I'm just gonna say the message going into the year seemed stale. It seemed like everyone kind of like seen the writing on the
I
wall
mean, can
of
we be honest? I mean, come on,
what.
come on.
I'm just saying, his message seemed stale. It was really, even from week one, like just looking at week one's performance, it was kind of like they kind of squeaked by the Arizona Cardinals. It was like, oh, we got lucky.
New ownership takes over.
Well, that's my
Team
point. It
takes
was
a
kind of
gigantic step back.
that's my point. It's kind of like everyone kind of was looking at this season like the writing's on the wall. Everyone knows what the outcome's going to be. It's kind of just like going through the motions, and yeah, I mean,
That man's already
sucks.
got a cruise picked out. Fucking
Right.
schedule
Like
him.
they're over like, yeah, dog, like January
I don't
10th
blame him.
I'll be in the Bahamas January 10th, like just chilling on
Right.
the beach. Like, but
I already have my setups ready to go. I got my cigar
right.
lighter set up.
I
You know
already
what I'm
got my
saying?
little groupie Jones. Got their flights booked, like ready to
For
go.
Ron Rivera? I'm talking about Ron. I'm talking
Oh,
about
I
when
was talking about
after
the player. No,
I'm
I
talking
was
about
talking about the
Ron after he
players.
retires.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
talking
nah.
about.
I was talking about the players. It
Oh,
was just like coming
jeez.
into the season, it was like
Let me see where your mind's at. Now let's go to our next question in Discord. This is from Andy Lockhart, Mr. Irrelevant in the UK. Oi! Thank you, and this is a great
oi.
one. Hall, why is Saint Ghost still playing? He's checked out, shying away from contact, even at the start of the game.
I mean, it just goes back to what we were just talking
Saint.
about.
You
There's
said Saint
everyone's
Ghost.
just saying because I know.
I'm
It
not even
just
gonna
goes back
laugh at
to
it, but it's good.
it goes back to what Montez was saying, where guys were kind of just seemed like they were just waiting for the season to be over, kind of checked out, just kind of playing or showing up week to week, day to day, just waiting for the season to be over. And yeah, I mean, you can see it. It wasn't even just go back to the beginning of that game. Even though Kendall Fuller made up for it a couple plays here and there, that first run on that first big 18-yard run by Kyron Williams when he busted to the outside, like Fuller is coming at him like this on the angle, and Kyron he just cuts it back. Kendall Fuller doesn't even try to attempt to like swipe at him. He just keeps kind of. And he's
Oh,
kind of
I know what you're talking about when he
yeah,
turned
he
around
just
and
kind
started
of
running
and then
with him.
he just starts running with him. It's just like what? So I mean,
He
look,
wanted to get
like I said,
cardio in. He was jealous of
yeah,
Terry.
he's trying to get his cardio. But
He
look, three more games. I mean, like we just talked about, guys are just already waiting for that January 10th flight out of the country. They can go chill, have their off season, evaluate things from there. But
Look, I was talking about Rivera. I'm not talking about the players here. I will say this.
well, Rivera too. I
And
mean,
congratulations, the Fuller. He just got engaged. He made the big step. Good for him. Happy for him. Cosme just had a baby. I'm very happy for him in that regard. And I do think you're right. But is regarding the Benjamin St. Ghost, I'm not going to say that he has been absent or he's shying away from contact or that he's checked out, right? I feel like that's very disrespectful, Benjamin St. Juice, because we all know very, very much that man cares. He wants to hit you with one of these, man. He wants that, dude, and that's what he lives for. So don't tell me he's checked out. He wants one of those, bro, and that's all that matters. And I'm with it. I'm not trying to pick on anybody. I'm just saying,
I see what you're doing there.
I'm just saying at the end, like you see the one at the corner of the end zone. And like, look, I understand. Celebrate your things. Be happy about it. But dude, we're down like 20-0.
Right, I was about to say there's a time and place. Even whenever Curtis Samuel, he started doing the little dance, and he was like, "We down." Like, that's all y'all get.
Come on, man. We're
like, I can respect that. He was just like, "Look,
see,
I just
that's why
scored."
I like
He's like,
Kirko because he's a normal human.
Exactly. He's like, nah, like we down. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's a good man right there. I like Kurt for that reason. But no disrespect to him, dude. I don't think he's checked out. I just think that the writing is on the wall, and honestly, probably the scariest thing is when Rivera was first hired. We were just kind of talking, spitballing about our concerns with Rivera because like everyone was talking about how great it would be, and our one big concern was the offensive line because we said at the end of his tenure in Carolina, the offensive line had kind of deteriorated, and the offensive line being the backbone, the history of this team, and was kind of the backbone of the team originally when Rivera took over. We didn't want to see that kind of go wayside. And now coming full circle here, we can't evaluate how because the offensive line isn't good enough to. Like that is an abject, utter failure. And I can understand why people want to move on, and I'm not going to say that they're wrong. I say I agree with you. All I've been saying is we need a consistent and good transition of power like other organizations do. We don't need to just drag people through the streets like Dan Snyder used to do and toss fire on them as they're going out because we want to ridicule their name. People don't want to come work for you after that. And that showed under Dan Snyder multiple times. But that being said, we all know how this is going to end. So calm down. We know it's hard, but calm down, man. That's all I ask, man. Just calm down on them. Now, the next question I have submitted in the Discord is from Tim Towner. It says, Gardner Minshew, 2019 6th-round pick. He is at $3.5 million a year, and Jake Browning, a 2019 undrafted free agent at $750,000 a year, have had big games today. So would you buy or sell Jacoby Brissett, who is a 2016 round 3rd pick and at $8.5 million per year for Washington as a backup in 2024? The funny thing about this question is Tim submitted this yesterday.
Yeah, no. As a backup, yeah, I mean, sure, I wouldn't mind Jacoby here as a backup, but
you made a damn good case today, bro.
Yeah, and I mean, you can just see like everyone talks about like how he's such a great like guy in the quarterback room, like he helps out, whatever, blah blah blah. But I would probably just say that just Jacoby being Jacoby, he's probably want to go somewhere else where he can maybe be a bridge guy, maybe go to another place where he sees a quarterback in front of him that he can probably at some point in time he knows he'll be able to get onto the field and like play a little bit. So, I mean, I would love to have Jacoby here next year, but I would say that Jacoby probably wants to move on and to greener pastures, find somewhere else to land at and play at. But yeah, he's definitely, like I said, we were talking about, he's a top 35 quarterback. He's a French starter, so he can definitely be that bridge guy. He can definitely be that guy that's starting for 5 or 6 games before the rookie comes in and finishes out the season. But I just think that if they're going to go quarterback, especially next year, if they're going to draft a quarterback and they're going to go quarterback, they're probably going to want to start that quarterback from day one to get him all the experience he can. So I would just say that, and having Jacoby here, just like we saw today, what are all the DC media, all the airways going to say tomorrow? Jacoby should be the starter for this team, even though they're going back to Sam and blah 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 blah.
My manipulation of it is what's going to be I'm telling you, it's going to be the theme. Because Jacoby Brissett could come in and actually do something, they're going to say this points to Sam not being the starter from here on out. And we should be spending that top 5 pick on a quarterback.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I would love to have Jacoby here next year, but I just think that he's going to want to move on to greener pastures and a better situation for him as far as his career and his playing time.
This next question is a fantastic one, and I'm glad that Arch had asked it in the Discord. Is Ron going to cut the cheese? Oh, my goodness. What an egg fart, dude. Whoa. Whoa. Like, this is like you having a getaway driver, like you paying a guy like, look, man, you're getting an eighth of this. All you got to do is wait in the car for us and, like, be out there when we're out there and just drive, all right? That's all you got to do. We'll take care of the rest. And you come outside and the dude's, like, sitting at McDonald's across the street in line ordering, blocked by everybody, you know? Like, what? You had one job. And that it's probably one of the biggest, like, blunders ever. Just given the fact that they traded up for him and it being a long snapper already, it's the unfortunate part. But it's just the added meltdown on top of it that makes it just bubble out of control to, like, chaos, man. Like, horrible look.
His rookie year didn't have one bad snap, didn't have no mishaps. Everything was perfectly fine. Even made it to the Pro Bowl just because Tress made it and because they were the duo. Why would you decide to switch up your hiking, your spin, all that stuff going into this season? Literally just blows my mind, and I have no reason why you did that. But you wanted to change things up. You got the results this is the results of that, changing up. You're changing up what got you here to this point. I don't know why, but you're probably not going to have a spot on this team next year because of it. You played yourself, Cheeseman. I don't know what happened.
I mean, I think the young man should be grateful for what he has today, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, of course. I mean, look, when he got the call in the 5th round, they said, you traded up for me and I got drafted. He was probably like, sure you got the right number? There's another Cheeseman in this draft that, like, mixed up the names?
I swear what happened is they traded up for, like, another player before another team, and another team got hip to it and took that player, and they were like, dude, that's the only conceivable. Why? Sure. Why would you need to trade up?
Look, I'm not gonna try to rehash the past,
whatever.
But all I'm gonna say is,
okay, you're right.
Trent Williams,
you're right.
Morgan Moses, Eric Flowers, Brennan Sheriff, Nick Sundberg. These are all guys you decided to move on from that were here for many, many, many years that were top half of the league of their position players, and obviously in other positions, top 5 of their position. Look at the players you replaced them with. Look at the multiple players you replaced them with.
They traded up for the ability to possibly decapitate our best player in Tress Way. I mean, they took him out, bro. I was surprised he didn't get a flag for that. That was kind of crazy.
I'm surprised he actually came back in the game because that man got punished.
Dude, his spine has to be hurting on the flight home, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, that man went right into his neck, dude.
I know, dog. Trust me. Like I said, I'm surprised he came back. Good kudos to him. Tough man Tress, but
seriously, man. Those punters, they're thick boys, you know. Expect to read. Woo!
Right.
Last question that we have is from Arch Deluxe. What is the biggest overreaction of the week?
That Jacoby Brissett should have been starting for this team since week 1. People have been saying that. People are going to say that. People are going to say, oh, he should have been starting from week whatever. We could be in contention right now, blah, 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 blah. Is it possible? Who knows? Look at guys like Jay Browning, guys like Gardner Minshew, who I would say that Jacoby Brissett is either better than or on the same level as. So it's possible, but at the same time, everyone knew what this season was about. It was about Sam Howell. He's a young quarterback. Is he the guy? Everyone knew the writing on the wall was Ron Rivera and most of the staff short of an NFC Championship or a Super Bowl, was probably going to get fired. So hindsight's always 2020. Overreaction Mondays will be, oh, Jacoby Brissett would have had this team at 7-6 or 8-5, whatever it might be. Defense is still horrible. His defense is still giving up 30-plus points a game. Jacoby Brissett, God bless him, he ain't fixing none of that. So
I think the biggest overreaction of the week is going to be the harping on the draft picks. And I do think at this point it's warranted. I mean, I can understand why. Like, this is the point when the radio should be saying the sort of things that they've been saying about players here. You know, obviously.
you mean we can be eliminated?
Well, shut up. But you know what I mean, though. It's kind of like, at this point, what can you show for it? And with everything that has been offered up until this point, you can't really hang your hat on anything. And that's what my point was last week with Ron Rivera. It's almost sort of like they kind of, I don't know how to explain it. I just think that they needed to get the ship to where it needed
You know what's
to go.
funny? That's a microcosm of this whole year. I don't know how to explain it. Like that, I don't know.
I just don't know.
Like I said, just look at the NFC. Like, look at the 7th seed playoff race. Look at that. Look at the race for the 7th seed.
I know it's like five and what?
And then think about this team and how bad they have to be that they've already been eliminated from the 7th seed. When you still have 5-win teams that are competing for the 7th seed.
But that's what I'm saying is you have to think about it. New team, new owner takes over team right before the season. The team has shown to be better than that. All of a sudden, they take a huge step back. You know, it's kind of like, come on. It's kind of like Benjamin St. Juste in the corner of the end zone and that one drop pass. It's like, come on.
All I'm going to say is whenever they took over, the players, the fans, everybody, the radio people, the media, everybody was excited. Everybody was excited 2 weeks into the season.
Remember, people were pissed that Josh Harris had a big old smile on his face in that press box. Remember in the Chicago game?
I know, honestly.
Josh is
from
chilling.
That Chicago game, people kind of turned on him from that point. They were like, bro, this man's up there partying while we getting blown out.
You know why? Because he's chilling because he knows. He's like, we're going to top 5 pick. For real, though. I did watch a little bit on Edgerrin Cooper, the linebacker in the draft from Texas A&M. Looks like a good, solid player. Has some ability, but I do think endurance is going to be his big thing. Cardio. He does seem to be taking out a heck of a whole lot. Obviously, he had a fumble recovery for the touchdown that I saw in that game. But the linebacker class in general is not all too inspiring in the sense of getting a guy day one that could step in and be a difference maker in the NFL. I think the hardest thing to be able to do when you see these college guys being able to kind of visualize how it would look on the NFL field, and it's a different animal at this point. And I think a lot of these linebackers drafted have a hard time with that. And I'm not sure if we saw a lot out of our linebackers today to be able to warrant much interest in the next year. But I think Khalil Hudson, he played inspired football. I will say, beginning that game, he was popping, dude.
Well, that's why they got $90 million cap space next year. Probably going to be more than that when they make some cuts and do this and do that. So if there's a guy out there in free agency that can fit the bill and is a veteran, has some experience, I would love to bring that guy in because, like everyone's been saying, not saying you got to get London Fletcher or Ray Lewis or anyone like that, Brian Urlacher, but we need that field general in the middle of the field, that quarterback on the defensive side of the ball. I know, trust me, you've been saying it forever. That's gonna put guys in place. It's gonna pretty much just control the defense and be like, hey, this is my defense. This is how we're gonna play. So, and look, again, for everyone talking about, oh, we need a top 5 pick and blah 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 blah. Look at guys like Fred Warner. Look at guys like all these linebackers out there. Look at the Lions draft. What's his name? Campbell in the 2nd round. Like
Jack Campbell, that's my boy out of Iowa.
Yeah, because you're not a first-round pick or a top whatever pick doesn't mean you can't be a contributor. Doesn't mean you can't be a hidden gem in the draft. It's just about the guys that are picking the guys, picking the players, and developing the players. The guys picking the guys and developing the guys.
And developing
guys.
Yeah.
Guys.
And in Reed's case, you know what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? I know that we were talking about this in the chat earlier about what can kind of makes a successful draft and what makes a successful team. And I would say, like, if you're able to add 2 to 3 starters every single draft class, then you're looking to be in a very good position. Now, if you can get one of those to be elite, like once every 3 years, I think you're in a very, very good position adding those starters in here. And that's why in this previous draft class, it's really, really, really hard to be inspired. And like, that's the unfortunate part, because you don't want to crap on anybody. You know, obviously they're working hard, but at some point you have to ask the question, where's the disconnect? Is it the supply or is it the treatment of the supply? And at some point you got to be able to just turn the valve off completely. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where ultimately we are headed in the troubleshooting process of going down the list. You know what I'm saying? Any last minute question? Our Santa's list. I don't think you and I have put together our Santa's list, so to speak. Do you want to save that for Thursday, since Christmas, the holidays is this weekend?
Thought we just did that like last episode.
Nah, not really. We didn't really give ours.
Yeah. Oh yeah, just save it for Thursday. I don't know. I got to think.
I know it's hard to do, man. It's hard to do nowadays, especially with everything going on. It's funny. I had my Commanders sweatshirt on for our company Christmas party on Friday, and you know, Mark Anchor said to me, he's like, "Oh man, it's good to see you still support the team." And I was like, "Yeah, way to call me a dumbass in public, Mark." No, I'm just kidding. No, but I was like, if I was a smart man, I wouldn't be still a fan. But of course, I understand how all this works, and honestly, that was why I kind of was tweeting like all depressed like a month or so ago. I kind of realized what everything meant, and kind of realized what this year essentially was. And I think that honestly, I don't blame Rivera for just wanting to. He's ready to go, dude. And I think at this point, he kind of. All right, I'm ready to go too, bro. I'm ready to get something new. Let's go, man. Let's kick the tires, bro. All right, everybody. We will see you on Thursday. I apologize for everything. I'm going to hit up Chad Ryan now and thank him so much for doing that for us. I'm sorry about the internet. All right, everybody. We will see you on Thursday with a new episode. Make sure you check it out. We're going to have guys like Lake Lewis on being able to join us on Thursday, and possibly our guy Steve, the quarterback guru, is going to be joining us as well. All right, everybody. We'll see you then. I'm Kyle.
You mean we could have been eliminated?
Come on, man. Look, all I'm saying is better crossed arms than crossed legs. You know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
What's up, everyone?
Nah. All right, everybody. Washington football. Woo!
Peace.
What's up, everyone? This is Kyle from the Burgundy Zone. We are releasing our own merch to support the show. If you want to rock the Burgundy Zone logo, or you want to see Reed's face on your shirt, we got it. We're starting with t-shirts, hoodies, and zip-up. So if you're a fan of the show, make sure you snag one before they are gone. Check out the link in our bio on Instagram, or you can find the link in the description of the video. Thanks again for all your support. Until next time.